Hi, I'm Amelia and welcome to my channel So Amelia, where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. Welcome to this week's video, which is all about the items of clothing I made in March. So if you've watched last week's video, you will know that I participated in the So Frugal 22 challenge that was run by Ruan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl and Sam from Frugalissima. And as part of that challenge, I made a few items of clothing for me and my children. So if you haven't seen that video, do pop back and watch that one. I'll link it up here because those are also some of the garments that I made in March. But apart from my So Frugal challenge entries, I did make a couple of other things. So I thought I would make this video to share those with you. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy watching and seeing the garments that I made in March. So the first thing I'll share with you is what I'm wearing today, and that is the Hug Hoodie by Made It Patterns. If you've watched my channel before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the Hug Hoodie pattern. And recently I made an Anthea blouse in this dusty pink colour, and I loved the colour so much that I wanted to make something else in the same colour. And whilst it is warming up and feeling slightly more spring-like, it's still cold enough, especially in the evenings, that I thought I could add one more jumper to my wardrobe before the warm weather really arrives. And in England, let's be honest, even in the summer, you can always do with a nice cozy jumper for those cooler evenings. So I jumped online to Minerva and ordered some Mind the Maker sweatshirting in this, I think it's called Dusty Rose colour, but I'll link it in the description box below if you're interested to go and have a look. I made my previous version of the Hug Hoodie in a navy sweatshirting from Mind the Maker, and I loved it so much. It's so comfortable, it was really lovely to sew with. It's snuggly and warm, and it has washed and worn really well. The other thing I like about Mind the Maker sweatshirting is that they have ribbing to match every colour that they sell, and I just find that so helpful because it's already matched for you, and especially when I shop online for the majority of my fabric purchases, it's really helpful to know that the cuffing or the ribbing that I'm buying is going to match the sweatshirting. So I did buy both of these from Minerva Craft, and I love it. I love the Hug Hoodie pattern. So it's a really interesting pattern with a cross front detail, which I think is really flattering, especially on my particular pear-shaped figure. I am just under 5'5", so the pattern is a slightly cropped style, but I find for me that it sits really, really nicely just on my waist at the crossover section and on my hips for the back section, which I love. I did try lengthening it by an inch in a previous version that I made, which is just a sort of a lounging at home jumper. And whilst that's great, it keeps me more cozy because it does cover up a little bit more, I do prefer it in the shorter length for a jumper like this that I plan to wear out and about on the school run or as part of my everyday mum life adventures. When I made this, I did make the size 10, which is the size I've made before. That fits my measurements and there's plenty of ease and room in it. It's really nice and comfortable. It sits nicely around my hips. The only thing I might do if I were to make it again was to size down perhaps in the top section if I just want a slightly more fitted jumper. But I absolutely love the look of this one. I've already worn it a lot and I can see myself wearing it lots next autumn when the weather starts to cool down again. I absolutely love this dusty rose colour. It's a new find for me, and I think I'm going to be adding a few more pieces in this colour to my handmade wardrobe. I really, really love it, and it's always nice to discover new colours that work for you. Now, I couldn't very well make a Hug Hoodie without making the matching slow pants, and so that's exactly what I made next. Now, I made these in a lovely thick navy ponte fabric from Beyond the Pink Door. It's a heavy ponte fabric and it's actually brushed on the inside, so it is nice and cozy without being too thick. The previous pair of slow pants that I made were in a lovely grey sweatshirt jersey fleece fabric from the rag shop, and they are so cozy. But I'm just finding as the weather is warming up a little bit, I get really, really hot in those in the evening. So I wanted to make another pair of slow pants that was slightly on the thinner side so that I could enjoy wearing those in the evenings through the spring. This blue ponte sewed up so nicely. I put in the pockets in these slow pants. Because the ponte is slightly thinner, they do sit really, really nicely. I love the construction of the pockets in this, and I love the way that they sit against the stripe. You sort of hardly see them, and even when they're on, they sit really nicely. They're a lovely straight leg shape all the way down to the cuff at the bottom, and I did decide to use some leftover fabric from making the Hug Hoodie for this stripe down the side of the jogging bottoms. So it does mean I can wear these as a coordinating set, or I can wear each piece on their own, and I have worn these jogging bottoms with just a white jumper, and I can see myself wearing them with a white t-shirt in the springtime, and again I can wear them with this jumper if I want to make a little coordinating loungewear set in the evenings. So I made the slow pants in a size 12 at the waist. The waistband is fitted with this elastic, so my waist is 30 inches and the waistband in the size 12 is exactly a 30-inch waist, and you cut the elastic to that measurement. So that fits really, really comfortably. Now my measurements did put me into about a size 14 for the hips, but I really wanted these to be comfy and cozy and not feel too tightly fitted, especially because of where the pockets sit. I didn't want them pulling and sitting sort of opening up across my hips if they were just on the tight side. So I did grade out to a size 16 across the hip, and I really, really like the fit of that. It's comfy, it's cozy, but I still think it does look quite put together. So I have worn these on the school run a couple of times with trainers and with a t-shirt, and I'm really looking forward to wearing these more in the spring months and then again in the autumn. Now the next thing I made in March is not something I'm going to talk about a huge amount on this video. It's already had quite a lot of airtime. I have filmed a couple of videos about the making of this dress, and so I will link those below in the description box if you want more details about this pattern. I have also included it on my list of top spring and summer dresses, as I think this is going to get a lot of wear as we head into the warmer weather. So it is the Make with Mandy Mia dress in this beautiful red viscose poplin from Fabriczone UK. They were kind enough to gift me the fabric, and I absolutely loved making it into this dress. It's sewed up really, really nicely, and it's really light and swishy to wear, so I can see it being really comfortable, especially when the weather warms up. Now the Make It With Mandy Mia dress has a V-necked bodice that crops off just at your natural waist. It has this sort of more fitted first tier, and there are two more gathered tiers at the bottom of the skirt. Now it does come with short sleeves or long sleeves, but I chose to put the Anna Allen Anthea blouse sleeves on this. I just thought that the volume in the sleeves balanced out the volume of the tiered skirt, and I really like the way that they look with the fitted bodice. Now my measurements placed me in a size 10 to 12 for this pattern, 10 across the bust and a 12 across the waist. However, I did end up taking quite a lot off the side of the bodice here just to make it fit me the way I wanted it to. I wanted the bodice to look more fitted, again to just balance out those floaty tiers. So in the future I would make a size 8 across the bodice and a size 10 across the waist, as the finished measurements of those sizes really suit the look that I was going for with this dress. So if you are going to make the Mia dress, do just check those finished measurements before you choose your size, as the bodice is a bit more on the loose side. If that's your preference, great. Mine was to make it a bit more fitted, so I did end up sizing down for that one. Such a pretty dress. I'm really looking forward to wearing that, and I can see myself adding a few more of those to my summer wardrobe, as I just think I'll wear that one a lot in the warm weather. Now the last thing I made this month was a project that I have been looking forward to making for such a long time, and I was so excited to make this in March as the weather starts to warm up, as I think it will make a really lovely spring jacket. Now it is the Friday Pattern Company Heather blazer, and Minerva gifted me this fabric and I decided to make it up into the Heather blazer. It's a lovely light cotton jacquard. It's not heavy enough to be like a coat, but it does suit the weight of a blazer. Then I decided to use a dead stock silk fabric that I found on eBay for the lining. I absolutely love this company and their lining fabrics, and so I wanted to find one that would go with the navy, and I really, really love this one. You can see it's a mustard colour with these beautiful pops of red and green, and I just think it just adds something, especially when you fold up the cuffs, like I've chosen to do here. Now, in terms of sewing up the Heather blazer, I knew it was an oversized blazer and I didn't want it to be too oversized. I find in Friday Pattern Company, my measurements usually place me into a medium across the bust and then a large across the hips and waist. However, I look at the finished measurements before I sew any of their patterns, and I usually find that making the size small gives me plenty of ease, and I really like the fit of the Friday Pattern Company garments that I've made in the size small. So looking at the finished garment measurements for this pattern, I knew that I'd have enough ease in the pattern to make a size small, and given that that size has worked so well for me before, that is the size I decided to go for. The only thing I would say is that the sleeves, they fit me really nicely, but there isn't a lot of give or ease in those sleeves. Now that's fine. This is going to be a spring and summer jacket just to pop over the top of a dress when we go out in the evenings. It's not going to be over jumpers and thick layers like you'd wear in the autumn and the winter. If I made it again though, I think I would have to increase the circumference of the sleeve here around my bicep just to give me a little bit more room in that part of my body. But otherwise, I'm really happy that I sized down. I think it gives me a good fit across the bust. It sits really nicely, the length is good. So overall, I'm really happy I did decide to make the small. Now, I absolutely loved making this one. It took me a long time to make this blazer because of all of the beautiful finishing details that are included in the pattern. There's a lot of different couture, almost couture techniques in terms of sewing down the collar and then getting this lovely clean finish on the lining and the edge of the jacket. There's a lot of hand stitching the lining to the main fabric at certain points before you turn the coat out to just make sure that the lining really hangs and sits nicely. You even put in a little bit of fabric between the lining and the underarm of the outer fabric to make sure that the sleeve really stays where you want it to. So it was really lovely to just take my time to learn these new techniques for blazer making. I haven't used these techniques before. They are so well explained. The instructions are very clear. There are great pictures, and Chelsea from Friday Pattern Company has also made a sew-along video so that you can really clearly see exactly what you need to do. Now I didn't need to use the video this time until it came to this particular finish here on the bottom of the jacket. I did go and watch the video, which is suggested in the pattern instructions, and I'm really glad I did. It was really useful just to watch Chelsea do the process and then be able to do it again for myself with the coat. It gave me a bit of confidence that I was actually doing the right thing. So I love that with Friday Pattern Company. Brilliant instructions, great videos if you're more of a visual learner like I am, to really make sure that you nail the process of fitting and sewing up the garment and end up with a final garment that you can be really proud of. And I am. I'm really proud of this make. I absolutely love it, and I can see it getting a lot of wear over the spring and summer. I think navy is a really practical colour. It goes with lots of things in my wardrobe. I can unfold these sleeves so that you don't see the pop of yellow if it doesn't go with what I'm wearing. But likewise, who doesn't love a pop of yellow? I'm really happy with this make. The Heather Blazer by Friday Pattern Company. I can definitely recommend it. Even if you are a beginner sewist, I think the instructions are so good that as long as you took your time, you could definitely make this. Give it a go if you're keen to make yourself a blazer, but it does take time. I think slow sewing is definitely the way forward with garments like this one. Now the last thing I thought I would share briefly in this video is where I'm up to on my daughter's Easter dress. Now I mentioned this first, I believe, in my February plans video, and I have been working away at it slowly over the last couple of months. So I thought I'd let you know where I was at, and I'm hoping that I will get this one finished in time for Easter. So here is the bodice, and you can see that I have now done the smocking. So this is now on my blocking boards. I've steamed it into the right size for the bodice, and then I'll have to chop out the armholes. So you sew with a zigzag like this for the armholes, and then you have to trim it down, which is always so sad to lose some of the smocking. But that's fine, she needs armholes. This is the smocked bodice, which is now finished. I love the colours, I just think it's so lovely and bright, especially against this darker cotton lawn. Now whilst I've been smocking that by hand, I have been working away at the other little bits and pieces of the dress. So for example, I have sewn up the back bodice and I've added the piping. I'm going to use blue piping, which matches the colour of the smocking, the main smocking colour. So this is actually two pieces. It's the front of the back bodice and then the lining of the back bodice that will be attached at the shoulders to the front yoke of the dress. And then I've also made the sleeves, the little puffed sleeves. Obviously that's just one piece at the moment because I need to sew that seam together and then that will sit into the dress like that. Again, I've used the bright blue piping. I just really like the pop of colour that gives with the dark fabric, and because it is a spring Easter dress, I thought using the blue was a really nice touch. So that's all ready to be put together. Again, it's a lovely slow sew, that one. I love to use French seams to put that all together. I take that one really slowly, as again it's an heirloom garment that I want to last a long time and hopefully be passed down to maybe some grandchildren one day, or my niece who might wear that when she's a little older. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed seeing those finished garments and my work in progress. Do let me know below which one of those you enjoyed, or if you've made the heather blazer before, let me know what you thought of the pattern. I think it's definitely in my top 5 patterns that I have sewn purely just for the enjoyment of making it. If you have enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, as that really helps my channel to grow and for other people to find and hopefully enjoy the video too. If you haven't yet subscribed, it would be so great if you would hit the subscribe button, it's free, and then hit the notification bell so that you'll be made aware of when I publish future videos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a really happy week full of lovely sewing, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye!